ban here, but they also, I feel like they're going to leave it open. They've done this before already, is allow a team to take the Baron against them. It's something that Team Solo Mid has been doing, and Cloud9 started to do it as well. And
it's definitely, it's like a theme of the more confident teams definitely being able to do that and knowing how to deal with the Baron despite its incredibly high damage, but they do ban it away.
And let's see what, I think they may ban Koshka here and not give it over to Cloud9 because Joseph's Koshka is really, really strong. Or they may ban Cruel again. But if you have Grace, it's good. So they're actually going to ban Adagio and not give Cloud9 the double heal competition that they ran against Immortals earlier.
They've ran it incredibly well, and we all know how good Old School is on the Adagio. So the ban makes sense, but this is kind of the strength of Cloud9. Like, no other team in the Vainglory 8 would have this Adagio banned against them. It does not happen. And so it leaves an additional pick open for Cloud9 that other teams normally wouldn't have the courtesy of being able to get.
So let's see if Cloud9 is going to pick up the Koshka or pick up the Black Feather or Idris here, because Idris is open. They actually go with Kestrel, so it's probably a weapon Kestrel, and that leaves Hammers with Glaive, most likely. Starting likes to play a lane Glaive into a Kestrel, more so than Idris or anything else. So they'll probably pick up the Glaive here, potentially a Koshka, and do a really aggressive dive composition that they played earlier. Or they may go with Samuel if they want to play the range game here. So let's see what they're going to end up. But I think Glaive will definitely be picked up by starting. Or he might go Ringo, but I think Glaive makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, he has been leaning towards Ringo as of late, but definitely Glaive. Fantastic into that Kestrel, so we'll see what he's going to opt to go for. Interesting that they go with that Kestrel while against a Grace as well. Obviously, Grace can deny a lot of that burst and can jump on the Kestrel if she ever gets out of position. But we'll see what the option is going to be. Obviously, Hammers using every second that they can to decide on this one. This is an important game for them.
Yeah, against a weapon Kestrel, Grace is not as good. She doesn't really counter because Kestrel can still active camo immediately due to the weapon perk of the active camo. A CP Kestrel, on the other hand, can't active camo if they've taken recent damage. So Grace could be okay, or weapon power Kestrel could be okay into Grace. They're going to pick Koshka here, and are going to secure the Glaive or Ringo, and they're going to go with the Ringo here, and I think Cloud9 will probably go with Sky or Samuel, or maybe even Cruel or Rhyme. Yeah, Cruel comes out. Wow.
All right, well, Cruel's been banned against them basically every other game they've played today. They are going to be able to lock it in this time for Joseph, which means it will be the weapon power Kestrel going on towards the lane. How are we feeling about these compositions? Obviously, we've got starting all over on Ringo. This is what he used last week to take out Gangstars, and did an amazing job 1v3ing on it and saving the game multiple times. Let's say, I mean, these are some of the highlights from him playing that Ringo last week as well.
Yeah, Ringo is a pick that not many teams are really running, but Cloud9 and Hammers, towards the end of Split 1, Cloud9 had actually picked it up a couple of times. Hammers is starting all over as a player that we know loves this Ringo, is incredibly talented with it, so it's definitely not something that is completely unheard of in this matchup.
Yeah, certainly not, and we'll see whether he can live up to his reputation on this Ringo as we jump on into this final. There's a lot on the line for these two teams. Hammers right now looking to push themselves further up the standings, whereas Cloud9, they're looking to tie themselves up with TSM up at the top spot of the standings right now. They could be a single game away. We'll have to find out if that is going to be the case. Let us know who you're supporting coming into this one. Hashtag Vainglory8. Make sure to tag your team and let them know that they've got your support. But it's time to jump on into the second game of our North American final. It's the Hollywood Hammers going up against Cloud9.
Here we go. Hammers up against Cloud9. In game 2, this should be a pretty fun one. I'm really excited to see Old School on this Kestrel. I think it's he's going to have a pretty good knack for this hero.
He definitely should. Old School is a very mechanically gifted player, but what is Starting doing here, Humanist?
Dude, he's a Ringo. He's incredibly durable. He's just tanking up all of the damage. No big deal.
He's fast. I don't know about durable, but he is fast. He does make it out safe, and we actually have a pretty aggressive invade from Playboy Afro here.
The battle of the captains deep in the jungle here to nominate. Playboy Afro playing games. Gabe Vizzle sniffed it out early on, and you know, Playboy Afro is getting the better of Gabe, but Gabe can just kind of heal up. If he does get in trouble, he can boot himself out of there. Joseph's going to be able to collapse now. The sigil comes out. They're on top of Playboy Afro. Playboy Afro just hits the benediction onto Gabe Vizzle and moves himself out of there. Playboy Afro still holding his own boots, though. And with this, I think it should allow Archaic to get in. Yeah, Archaic's making the rotation over now. Hammers have 2 deep in the jungle of C9. Joseph's going to be forced out. Joseph taking a bunch of damage. And they're just going to have to watch as their backs are going to be taken away. No mercy from Hammers.
Smart rotation out of Hammers here. Gabe Vizzle being so low, having no additional bonus health to really cause those Imperial Sigils to heal any additional health. So they really capitalized on the fact that Koshka can snowball the Krull here in the early game. There's no chain stun ability, but here we go, Humanist.
My goodness. If the rest of Cloud9 did not just show up in the lane, I'm pretty sure they would just dive old school and find the kill there. But yeah, nice aggression from Hammers as they move up in the lane. C9 will dissuade that aggression. And we'll see what their move is going to be.
Yeah, C9 realistically has a huge opportunity here. The Krull obviously able to really lock down a target, both with a bit of crowd control in the slows as well as the stun, but also obviously reducing the incoming damage from that hero. And if Koshka dives a little too far, those glimmer shots will be able to blow her up. So Hammers has to play this really specific. They have to make sure that they are able to either delete Joseph or Old School early on in a fight, because in an extended exchange, this is almost always going to go over to Cloud9.
Well, Archaic's going to take the mids away from C9 one more time. Joseph definitely struggling here early on in the first few minutes. Denominate, can you talk to us about, I mean, how does the Ringo stack up against the Kestrel in the lane, just one-on-one that matchup?
One-on-one, Ringo should be able to do alright into Kestrel, especially if he fights around the cooldown of the Glimmer shots. The real big threat to Ringo is if Krull gets onto him, it's almost certainly going to be a death. Ringo fallen off of the meta pretty substantially just because a lot of the meta laners right now have some way to get out of that hard engage, you know, whether it be a Glaive Afterburn, you know, even the Jewel, the Rocket Leap, or even Vox's Sonic Zoom, and Ringo just doesn't have that. So this game is going to be about Afro getting good Holy Novas down onto Joseph to save Starting's life.
Yeah, I can see where the Holy Nova could be very disruptive to a Krull trying to engage in there, especially if Playboy Afro does have a good positioning in through these fights. Joseph, this is the first time he's had a nice, easy rotation through the jungle. He's going to be happy about that. We're about 10 seconds away from this jungle getting intense here. Starting already making the rotation down. He probably just wants to hit the shop immediately.
Yeah, he's definitely looking to come down for something here. It's going to be dangerous if he rotates back up the Cloud9 side, especially with that vision sitting there from Gabe Vizzle.
Why is he doing this? What's the play?
I think he was waiting on his team to rotate up to try to find Old School, and they do find a bit of damage, but a good active camo.
The stun, Archaic, he jumps right over the top. He takes Old School down. I see what's happening now. Joseph, he wants to take Starting, but Joseph's going to go down as well. They've overstayed their welcome. Archaic takes 2. Cloud9 get none, and now it's going to be Starting all over Archaic and Playboy Afro, taking this turret down, potentially at least putting very good damage out onto it.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of damage down quick, and it does look like they're going to take a 4.5-minute turret with this Ringo and Koshka composition, really taking advantage of the early game that this composition has. If they can close it out early enough, Krull won't really have a lot of time to come on here.
You know, okay, obviously Starting all over a top Ringo player, very good Ringo player, but he's also, you know, one of his other top picks is the weapon Kestrel. And when you play a hero a lot, you know how to abuse its weaknesses. And I think that he was making the call there, like, let's just kill this Kestrel. As soon as we get on her, she's going to die. That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, and again, just the huge amount of damage that can come out of Ringo Koshka in the early game, especially since Starting has this Sorrow Blade complete, and is having an absolutely amazing rotation down here to get that ambient gold. They really want to make sure that Starting can get to a full build as quick as possible, because if he's allowed to, then he's going to have the damage that he can really just, you know, get a couple attacks down and delete somebody from this game. And they have to be careful here if Joseph does decide to rotate up. Next time he gets the chance to shop, he will pick up that tension bow.
So he's going to grab the tension bow for himself, but he's level 5. I'm wondering, like, what's the point where C9 can think about fighting?
The real condition here is Kroll gets a good stun. He's not level 6 though.
Holy Nova canceling it off. Joseph, he's going to get boosted up by the sigil, trying to move forward. This Gabe holding the fountain, starting all over, is hanging around. He's pretty low, but Archaic jumps right back in. Another Holy Nova! Holy Playboy! Holy Yummy Catnip Frenzy from downtown! Old School's going to get burned down there. Archaic goes in for another one, gets the ace. He'll pay for it with his life, but Hammers, they're just styling on Cloud9.
This is looking really good for Hammers right now. They may even be able to pick up this turret here. A couple more attacks.
Wow.
Third turret down, 6.5 minutes in. The damage coming out of this Ringo and Koshka is absolutely huge. And look at the armor actually picked up by Archaic already here.
Archaic grabbing some armor. This is great for him. He's itemizing against C9 very efficiently. Of course, it's also in part due to their builds, their choices on how they're going to build this game. That makes it a little easy for him. This is crazy. Playboy Afro is still level 5. They're not even playing with Divine Intervention yet, and just kind of rolling down. I mean, even when we were it was like the push saw meta. It was rare that turrets were going down that fast. I mean, that was like a good push comp if that was happening. Hold on, that's gonna be holy deletion right there. Joseph wishes he could control alt that, or undo that one. Control Z. Gabe Vizzle getting blown up as well. I don't even know what to say here.
This is just absolutely disgusting damage coming out of Hammers here. This is a 4th turret now in 7.5 minutes, Humanist.
Yeah, they're gonna jump forward. Joseph almost going down. Playboy Afro. He's going to move out here with his team, starting all over, taking a bit of damage, but they have the Divine Intervention. They're going to catch him, but he blocks off with the one-shot. Playboy Afro doing a phenomenal job for his team here, starting all over, trying to stutter step backwards. Archaic, he was rooted up there. He was trying to take the tree, and Archaic, man, if he maybe had just been a little sooner, he could have done something for his team, but he has the move speed. He's trying to get out. If Hammers all get out here, this is insane, man. How is this happening? I don't believe my eyes here, Denominate.
This has been an absolutely intense game every second. Cloud9 looking to pick up this gold miner here that they might get the hopes of getting this Kroll online. The double armor from Archaic here has really allowed him to tank up a lot of those glimmer shots from Old School. We talked about Koshka going in too far can get deleted from just the sheer damage Kestrel can put out. And Archaic really making it a point that he needs to survive in that front line and really gives starting all over the opportunity here to run away with this game. Hammers
Have rolled the dumpster can out and just put Cloud9 in it this game.
Yeah,
this is just a thrashing of a game.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Hammers here, but again, if Cloud9 is able to get this Kroll online, get him some tankiness built up with that Poison Shiv, there's definitely a huge opportunity for C9 here, but Hammers is not really looking to give that opportunity. This wave is pushed all the way up here, and here comes Archaic.
How's this going to play out? Joseph, he moves forward, but Joseph's getting blown up. Only one turret remains for Cloud9. Old School would love if they'd walk onto that trap there. It's not going to happen. Starting all over, it's going to wind up the Hellfire Brew. They block off the From Hell's Heart. He's trying to kite back. He gets the healing that he needs to stay alive just a little bit longer. Joseph ticking down, burning down. Archaic wants it. Gabe Vizzle's going to be able to take down Starting. They've traded 2 for 1 as they lose Old School. And how about the YCP coming through for the triple kill? The ace in the base of Cloud9. And how about them apples right there? Under 10 minutes. Hammers. They're going to be closing this game out in a dominant fashion.
All of Cloud9 is up. And we've seen Hammers throw a game earlier where they were in a win condition here.
Yeah, this is, taking a lot of damage with Afro. I was wrong.
This is not looking good. Giving over 2 kills, but that is a exposed Vein Crystal now. But that's a bit of gold now going into Joseph's pocket. Not quite enough to finish what he needs. And now Hammers is 1 fight away from closing out game number 2. 10 minutes in, no saw. And there are no turrets left available for Cloud9. They are in a very risky position here.
Man. You know, if Saw liked to watch Vainglory, he'd be very impressed with this game. Having a talk with Ringo afterwards. A little pat on the back.
Yeah, the win condition here for Cloud9 is super perfect fight kind of scenario. I mean, Old School has to get good glimmer shots down onto the back line, onto starting all over, and Joseph needs to get a good stun down, a max length, maybe even a boomerang stun down onto somebody, just to really lock somebody up, because they haven't had that opportunity. It's kind of surprising that the Kroll-Lyra combination has really been snowballed so heavily this game. Now that Kroll has Poison Shiv, though, he should have a bit more sustain in these fights, and here we go.
Arcane Passage, the Bright Bulwark down. They're immediately trying to take Starting doing a very good job to reposition with the own Arcane Passage. He's going straight for the Vein Crystal. Keep your eyes on this to dominate. They do get the Divine Intervention onto Archaic. He's still alive. They lose Playboy Afro, but the hammers are on the Vein Crystal. And of course, that little Kissy's gonna come out of Starting as he drops the charms here. Having some fun. At the end, they're gonna take Old School down just because, hey, why not? What a game coming out of Hammers. This is why they're so incredibly fun to watch. Like, at any moment, they just feel like they can just explode and just break another team.